Good.
What are the Giants like on special teams? What are the
Mike does a really good job. They fly around. You can look at their. I always tell our guys. I said, check out the field goal block. See how hard they play on field goal block. That always tells you how hard a special teams unit plays, and they fly around. They get after you. So that's just one phase. But they're on everything. They do it. They do it all. They're right now. We have in our ranking system. They're in the top 10. So I mean, they're a good unit. They're solid.
We're a couple weeks into the new kickoff rule. Is it going how you expect, the number of returns and all that?
Yeah, I thought it would be in the 80%, tile as far as how many returns, and that's right where it's at. So I like it. I love it. I love the fact that every kickoff and every return is important, and it's good for me. It's good for us.
Have you seen anything from any teams that surprise you about like the way they kick it off, or?
No, it's kind of like, what we've seen is, what we've seen is what we do, and, I think everybody's on the same page with this thing, so.
Coach, is there a ripple that went through the special teams community at the end of that Indy Broncos game?
What was it, the leaper? The leaper, is that what happened? I was mad because, not mad, but I want to see Schrader do well and make the kick, run on the first one on the 60-yarder, but then when he missed it, he got another chance, and glad he made it. But the leap thing, you just can't do it. You can't jump and then land on another player, and that's an easy call, so you have to be careful with that.
It's actually leverage.
Leverage, it's leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you jump and then if you put your hand on a player, at all, as you're jumping over, if you put your hand like that and they see it, they consider that leverage. Yeah, I said leaping, it's leverage, yeah.
How many types of onside kicks do you guys work on?
Oh, Bucker has, I want to say, probably 20 different kicks that he can do well. The one in the game, for example, I'll take the blame on that. I didn't have our guys. We didn't practice it against a hands team. We always practice it against air, and I felt like our guys ran up the field straight instead of chasing the ball. I think we would have did better if we chased the ball and had contact with the player as he was trying to field it. It would have been better to have contact there. So, I took the hit. I told the guys that was my fault. We'll get that straightened out. The kick could have been a little bit more upfield too at the same time, but. As far as the guys running to the football, they need to do that better.
It doesn't happen often, but we had a situation where a guy didn't know the ball's live on a kickoff.
Oh, I did. I saw that.
I know. I'm sure you say it, but I
yeah.
know I'm quite confident somebody has gone over the rules with everybody, but it obviously.
Yeah, sometimes you get an older player that's with the old rules. All of a sudden, he's a returner back there, and all of a sudden he just blanks out, just forgets. Oh, it's a touchback, and he just forgets. And those guys are on you because they're only, they're right there. And if you forget for a second, they're going to get on it. And that was a heads up play.
Do you have a checklist every 3 months?
We don't go. What we do is like if something like that happens, we look at all the big plays and we look at all. We'll look at that on Saturday night. It's all set up to look at just to remind guys what could happen. That was a huge. That's a touchdown. That was a big deal.
You mentioned Bassa as standing out, especially the four-court
Yeah.
guys. Is anyone especially surprising you? As
Bassa, he made a big improvement from the first game to the second game. He had 2 tackles plus an assist. He was an outstanding player in that last game. So I was happy to see that.
Has there been anyone else that's surprised you and how reliable?
I think all the rookies done a good job. Cooper has done a great job. He's been solid, and Burchard just keeps getting better and better. If you watch him on the returns, he's getting closer and closer, and he's getting more confidence the more he touches it. So, excited.
You think Burchard has what it takes to be like a home run hitter, sort of?
Yeah, I do. He's got the top end speed for sure, and once he breaks out, I think everybody will see that.
Last couple.
I know it's a small sample size, and he's got quite a resume where you wouldn't really question Harrison Bucker, but
Yeah.
some people have been like, "Oh, he missed an extra point, and
Yeah.
he missed badly." That how far he missed seems to be a concern to some of you.
Yeah.
Any concerns with?
I don't have any concern. Obviously, once the 56-yarder popped up, we threw him right back in there, and he made it. I'm glad he made it, but it's good for him. But that just shows you what kind of mentality he has. It's all about the next kick with him. He started that first one, just to give you a little explanation. He started the first one at the right upright because the wind was blowing right to left, but it had a little bit of spin, that cut spin on it, and it into the wind. It just stayed there. It didn't turn as much as his normal ball is a draw, and it didn't draw for him. That's why it ended up being a little bit worse than normal for him.
What is bad as a book?
Yeah, well, any missed kick is bad, especially right there. You got to make those and get in front and whatever it takes. I mean, we didn't do it. We didn't get it done there.
We're gonna go last two, Zach and Matt.
Dave,
Yeah.
Brandon Aubrey beat this team that you're playing with two pretty impressive kicks there at the end. Can you talk about how kickers in general have increased their range and how that's
Yeah,
really
there was
changed the
no
game?
question that the range has gotten better and better. It used to be, Bucker was probably top 3 leg strength in the league. Now, I mean, and he's probably going to be mad that I say this, but I think there's about 8 guys that are these young kids that are coming up that got really, really powerful legs that are, right there or a little bit better than him right now. So it says something about the kids coming up, the training, but also, the ability that we have now, the teams have to be able to work the balls, the kicking balls. We have a chance to do that. So all the balls are broken in, and it's helping the ball fly a little bit, I think, for everybody.
That's one more.
Coach, seems like Ariza had a really nice game on Sunday.
did.
What has stood out to you about his performance?
Yeah, he had 3 punts and he averaged 54-7 net. I mean, that's pretty darn good. That means he was banging the ball, but he was hanging them enough to where we can get our coverage down there too at the same time. So he had 3 excellent punts, and if we only punt 3 times and he has 3 excellent ones like that, I'm good. Great game for him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
What does that mean? You guys get to hang outside with us if it's raining? Why not? Nobody will melt, right? I don't have really anything. We're excited to play the next team. We're looking to try and find our first win. So we're working toward all that this week. But with that, I'll just open it up.
Coincidentally, the last time the team was 0-2 and made the Super Bowl, 2007 Giants, and you were on that obviously as the defensive coordinator, and now playing the Giants too. Just your memories of that team and what it took for them to come back from that start, and what do you see out of this team that can do the same thing?
Yeah, I don't think one team's connected to another. It's funny when you bring that up. So that was 07, and I think somewhere after that, I can't remember where I was, but it was 0-2 again, and everybody thinks you're going to repeat history. It's hard to do. That was a pretty special year. That was what I do remember about it is the guys. Nobody panicked. Nobody jumped ship. Everybody kind of stuck with it, and there could have been that. I mean, I was new that year, and so I think the defense could have said, "This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and what are we doing all this stuff for?" But and we had a pretty memorable game. We went to Washington, and it was pretty nip and tuck, and then we had a big goal line stand in the fourth quarter. I think we stopped them on a 4th down. And that kind of turned everything, and then we went on a little bit of a run. So, it'd be great to repeat that. I think every team is different. Quite honestly, all I'm really thinking about is this next game, not what's going to happen down the road. When this happens, and I'm sure Coach Reed talked about it, is all you're doing is trying to find a way to win a game, get it rolling the other way.
Steve, when you look at the first couple of weeks, Chris's pressure rate hasn't been what we're accustomed to. How would you just evaluate it?
I have a so the analytic people that are here, Mike Frazier and his crew, give me a sheet every week on how many double teams he's getting. He was at 65% in this last game. That's a lot of doubles, And listen, is he capable of beating double teams? Yeah, but it's tough to do, play in and play out. That may have something to do with it. And look at I don't just grade it on sacks. I'm glad you bring it up as pressures, Sam, because I think that's the most important thing. But hopefully we can get rolling here and get the down and distance favorable to us. Maybe that'll change, but we're banking on Chris doing some of that.
When he gets doubled, is it the job of everyone else to be winning?
Well, no question. That's a great point. Now, there were a couple of downs there last week where they kept 7 people in. After we ran a couple of pressures, they started to do that a little bit. So not everybody's got a single when he is doubled. But, yeah, there is some I would say that's true.
Since snaps were up, I'm just curious what you've seen
Yeah.
as far as development.
I mean, they're up for a reason. He's played pretty good football for us. Now, the first game, right, he got the elbow, and I think he only had 9 plays. He'd have had more there. I just see him continuing to do that. I think the guys are getting a lot of confidence in them. Every time I think I mentioned this last week, every time I turn the one-on-ones on, against our guys, I think he's doing a really good job. So he'll keep ticking upward.
Coach, can you talk about Russell Wilson, how he looks on tape?
Yeah, savvy vet, loves to throw the long ball and throws it really well. And he's got guys that can go get it. Now, I mean, we're not in the same conference. It's NFC, AFC, so we don't see a lot of crossover film. So I haven't been able to appreciate the talent that this football team has on offense. And you put a guy in like Russell Wilson, who's capable of taking a game over. I've seen that happen. We've gone against them before. So we're fully aware of that. I think the skilled people that they have are really, really good.
The high blitz rate for you guys, was that something that was...
You talking about last week?
Yeah. Was that something Eagle specific, or is that something that this team can do well?
Well, I'm hoping that we can do it well all the time. They're always there. They're always on the list. It's whether we get to them or not. That's the key. And I'm trying to pick the right situations to do it because, they don't always work. I'd like to think if they did, everybody'd be running them, right, every down. But hopefully we can get ourselves in situations where we can use those as much as we can. We'll see what happens this week.
Steve, from a pass rushing perspective, what do you need from your front forward characteristic and mentality-wise to collectively be successful in this scheme?
Yeah, with this particular week, I'll just deal with this one. I mean, you got a quarterback that, you'd like to kind of cage up and bottle him up a little bit because he is athletic, and if we open up holes in pass rush lanes, he can make you pay for it like most of the quarterbacks in this league. But we'd like to be able to do some things and work some games, but we'll see where that goes. I mean, it's dictated by, can we get him in third down? Can we get him in, can the score be such that we know they got to throw it more than run it? When it's not like that, it's pick and choose. I think offenses nowadays, and this team is one of them, on first and second down, when they choose to throw it, they're what I call all block. Like they got a lot of bodies in there, whether they're chipping and getting their way out, tight ends and running backs, or they're keeping linemen in, and that makes it challenging. That's why we got to cover for a long time. And hopefully somebody punches a hole in the play action pass protection, and we get somebody home.
And from a Giant skill set perspective, with Robinson, with Neighbors, with Slayton, and then the running back trio of Tracy and Scatterbo and Singletary, what challenges do you have with that many they can throw at you and keep fresh?
Yeah, well, like all these teams that have good backs and skill on the edges, if you let them be two-dimensional, everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? They're running. They dictate whether they're going to run. That becomes a tough day. So hopefully we can get it one-dimensional, and the only way we can do that is to, stop the run or make that a focus. So that'll be the intent. That's what we'll hope to do early.
Coach, just Malik Neighbors specifically,
Yeah.
how good he's been. I mean, what are you seeing on tape with him?
I didn't realize how big he was. Like I'm talking about physically put together. Like we put pictures up in our unit meeting room with the team we're playing. There's one of him, and boy, he's rock solid, man. He's got forearms, and so he's a physical guy, and he can go up and get the ball. His catch radius, I mean, we talk all about that. He's going to be a guy we need to take away. If he's a game breaker, he's the guy that we got up there as a game breaker. Or if we let him wreck the game wrecker, it'll be a long day for us. So he'll be a focus.
And I'm curious, are you aware that there's only one team the Chiefs have never won on the road against, and it's the Giants?
I was not aware of that. I hope that changes, like Sunday.
Are you a motivation guy? Do you put both?
No, I didn't even. Until you just said that, I had no idea. Did you run that by Andy?
No.
No, you didn't run that by one. Yeah,
We'll go
that's a good one though. That's a good. Well, okay. So at least I had a hand in keeping that. Yeah. Now that if I go back in the roll, yeah. Hopefully we can change that on
We'll go
Sunday.
last three, Todd, Nate, Sam.
You'd like to cause some turnovers, obviously. He
Yeah.
doesn't have yet. What's the balance of trying to cause turnovers and not get beat deep and kind of playing that end of it?
Well, the turnover thing, when you said that, I was thinking more of, if it's all about getting the ball out, then the tackling gets bad, that part of it. The part where the ball is in the air, I mean, we should be going after the football. Now, we are a match coverage team. We play a little bit of man, and sometimes our backs are turned. So there was a little bit of a disadvantage there for our guys. But, yeah, to go 2 games without a turnover, we'd like to change that. And hopefully, the old saying, they come in bunches. Let's hope this week is the one where we do get the bunches.
Sam?
Truman Duffy and Jalen Watson, I don't think thought they had the best day of the Super Bowl. What do you think of the way they...
I thought they played really good. I thought that made a huge difference. And you know, what ultimately we didn't want it to be 20 points. We really wanted it to be 13 or less. You know, that one play kind of got us. But I thought the whole game, both those guys did a really good job. And I mean, the one play, Trent just couldn't find the ball. I mean, that's a tough one when you know, the ball is thrown where it is, and the receiver sees it a little bit sooner and adjusts a little bit quicker. But had we found a way to get that ball on the ground, I would have felt really, really good about our chances to win. And then we were trying at the end there just to give Patrick another chance at the ball. But that's a good football team we played.
Thank you, Coach.
That was it. All right, thanks.
Hey, Matt, historically, you guys have been really good yards after catch sort of team. I guess through a couple weeks, what have you seen from that? And I guess how can you maybe get that part of your game going?
Yeah, we want to get explosives going any way we can. Yards after catch, run or pass is important. So we want to make sure we stick to that and understand that. But at the same point in time, I think like just the execution part of it, whatever it is, if it's run after the catch, if it's more of an explosive play downfield, anything is really what's important to us. So, but that's certainly something we want to focus on.
I'm sure when you look at the running game, you feel like everyone comes a piece of it. But are you seeing enough creases in there that you feel like there was some opportunity to gain some more yards in the run play?
Yeah, it's hit and miss per play. There's some runs where I think we all see that and the RBs see it. I think that's every game. It's our job as coaches to make sure that they understand where that's at and then when to hit it is a big part of it. So the correction part of any game, when you go through it, win, lose, or draw, you want to make sure that we're teaching the right stuff to them, and then they got to execute it. So the one thing, you know, just understanding with our RBs and knowing that in our run game, we want to really get that going. It hasn't been there yet, but that's something that we want to emphasize.
Pretty even split between Kareem and Pacheco. Is there any thought to maybe giving one guy a little bit more than the other, or you just want to stay?
I don't think necessarily. The running back position, guys can get hot when they have certain carries. You can start to feel that. Some games are different for other guys, but we don't have anything in particular where we're like, we got to get, you know, one or the other more carries. But it's probably, you know, like a shooter. When you're hot, you're on fire. You keep getting more carries and vice versa.
Matt, is it easier to get the running game going from under center? Okay. Have a little more, you know, that the defense has to prepare for, not, you know, as opposed to maybe a limited number of run plays that you have out of a shotgun or a pistol?
What I would say to that part, so a couple parts to that. Number one is the team. Who are you? You know, are you a running team? Are you a passing team? And then the next level to that is when you do decide to run the ball. I think what you're insinuating is a little bit of, we call them breather runs per se, and almost for Pat, they're breather runs where it might not be the RPO style, where there's less decision making. It's more just downhill at you. So are we more of a gun run team? Yes. Are we looking at dot runs as well, what you're getting to? 100%. So we're really trying to evaluate what are we best at. I think the biggest thing that we're probably all tackling in this room right now that you guys are probably wondering and asking, and we want to get to as soon as we can, is what is our identity? And that's across the league. Everyone starts to create one, and the sooner you find that identity on offense with the players you have, the better you can be. So to your question, the dot runs, downhill, we call them breather runs, are certainly a part of it.
I know you guys come up with a game plan. Pat's part of that. You look at, hey, what do you like? What do you not like? Does Pat like being under center? Is he comfortable with that part of the equation? I mean, I know where he came from in college. You guys have done a lot out of the gun. Is he good with that kind of?
He'll be comfortable when it's productive in any run game. I mean, any quarterback's best friend is a run game. It helps out with so much.
What do you think your identity should be, Matt?
Well, that's every year it's a little bit different of a question for everybody, but whatever it is, whether it's running the football, play action, RPOs, drop back, it's a little bit. I'd say the Kansas City Chiefs with our quarterback is probably a little bit more drop back, and maybe not as much play action for some teams, but it's really when I say identity, it's not so much 30,000 foot view run and pass. It's more scheme-wise, you know, whether it's in the run game, inside zone, outside zone.
Matt, so much on, would say Joe and throughout the preseason on the explosive plays, and just how would you evaluate so far? I know there's some that Mahomes has missed out on that I'm sure he wants back.
Yeah, we're always going to look at that and make sure that we're executing those type of downfield plays when we have them, and sometimes teams are taking them away. One thing you're probably noticing early on is there are more downfield throws this year than in years past. Now we just got to connect on some of them. We did it at the end of the game. It was too late. We want to keep that going and be able to, when we look at it as a staff and as a team, to me, it's about starting fast. The last 2 games now we've gone 3 and out, and we want to start fast, and that helps our defense out. So how do we get to that point? I don't care if it's run or pass. How do we get touchdown on the first drive?
Kirby, and then we'll go Taylor.
Coach, you mentioned trying to figure out that identity. How much has the absence of Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy, Jalen Boyles in these last 2 games affected not able to establish an identity?
Probably one of the first things that what I love about Coach Reed is what he instills in his players and coaches is we stay away from the excuses of the personnel part of it, or you don't have this or don't have that, and so we're all engraved that way. What's real is that you go through training camp and you go through OTAs. Timing is important. At the same point in time, the next guy up mentality for when there are issues or a suspension or whatever, when you don't have those guys, we got to roll. Like that's who we have. So that's what I think for us as coaches is how do we put the players in the best position to what they do best to succeed. And you look at the last 2 games against, really the last 3 games against 3 really good, 2 defenses with the Chargers and the Eagles. It's not easy, but we're there, and it's not good enough for us, but we know we are close. And then the next part that Coach Reed does is, and Veach, is they bring in people that are really good at handling adversity. And I think more than anything, when you go through obstacles like we're going through right now, trying to figure out what is the identity, how do we put more points up with where we're at right now, it's easy to do when you have good people. Some places don't have that. And so what I really like is we have that, and so that's what we're going to do.
Taylor?
Speaking of bringing in guys, people were fired up about Josh Simmons making that tackle off the Travis Kelce interception. What's that say about him, and what do you think about him, the rookie, making that play?
It was spectacular, and it just goes to show that it can be anybody at any time that can make a big time play. And I also say this: everyone saw that tackle, which he was going with his miles per hour and making a great hit, right? It saved a big time play. But we also, you go back and look, number 5 was going to get him too. And you go look at Hollywood and what he was doing from that angle, he was going to be next. So one thing that we try to do is really make sure that we're holding each other accountable and get together and show that kind of stuff and let them see not just the bad stuff or what we can do better or what we can call better, execute, but also too the good stuff of what's there and what we're going to get to, because we will get there.
Last 2 quick ones, Todd and then Nick.
So Patrick, has told us a couple times about throws he's missed early against Noah and the later one to Thornton. Are we just seeing some of these things because you're 0-2, or has this been more mistakes or misses than you've seen in years past because they just maybe been missed because you win the games, or is it about the same number of missed throws?
Yeah, my initial reaction to that question is probably it's magnified when you're 0-2. I think that's probably something we'd focus on more. And we look at it every game. I mean, we want to, going into this year, we've talked about the mindset of aggressiveness and being aggressive. So sometimes the incompletions are still investment throws for stretching the defense and not letting them just play 10 yards downfield. So, but in practice, I think that's where we got to make sure, are we taking the shots, and then are we catching the ball in practice, taking that to the game. But we're on it every day, making sure that we're not going to stop with that. We got to keep that going.
Last one, Nick.
Matt, for Brashard Smith and Robert Tonyan, how do you work at integrating them in the weeks ahead here to get them touches and targets?
Both really good players. Both have packages, and they understand too that they're both next man up mentality. So you look at our tight end room, and Bobby's done a great job at stepping in, and he's a vet. He's done a lot of good stuff for us. So there's a lot of trust in him. And then with Brashard, he's learning still. So I think he's at a good pace right now. And then we'll continue to keep him in some packages and keep changing up what we do with him. And he's really growing. So I like both of those guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Hey guys.
Chris, obviously, when a game ends, not going to be happy, but what's the attitude been like for preparation this week? Any more urgency when you're 0-2?
I think it's always a sense of urgency in this building. Urgency kind of picks up when you're not winning. The energy is good. I think you got to keep the energy high. Still first quarter of the season. Can't get down on ourselves. We got to continue to push each other, get the best out of each other, and tighten up on the details.
What did you see from the Giants passing game last week? Russell Wilson had a huge game.
Played lights out. I think he had 400 passing yards. Definitely put themselves in a position to win. Just when you're facing a kicker who can kick a 70-yarder, it's just tough. But I think the offense played really, really well. Malik is a heck of a receiver. Russell Wilson is, you look at his PFF report, he's probably one of the best deep ball throwers in the game right now. I've been like that for a long, long time. Been top 5 deep ball thrower for a long, long time. So we give this guy time. He can definitely deliver it downfield. So, I think their offense is well-rounded. They got a rookie who is stellar. I love the fire that the rookie brings. So I think the offense is really well-rounded.
Chris, given the fact that he does go deep a lot, I know the pass rush is always important, but do you find it particularly important against a team like this that likes to throw the ball deep?
I think the pass rush is always important for us to get after the quarterback. I think we got a lot of good guys in our room who can rush the passer. We got to tighten up the detail and utilize that a little more.
Last week you said you wanted more energy from defense, like out of the gate. Do you feel like you guys did that in week 2, and anything you want to see from week 2 into week 3?
Yeah, of course. I think it was a step toward progression. And one step a day. That's what I tell the guys, one step a day. We don't have to take huge strides. If we continue to take one step a day, and by the time we get in December, we can look back at this moment of adversity, and we can learn a lot from it, and we can continue to build from it. We're all in this together. We're all leaning on each other, pushing the best out of each other, and we're taking one step a day. Progress compounds, and we continue to take a step a day. We'll still get better, and we'll get this thing turned around soon, very soon.
Coach Spags was talking about the amount of double teams you face. It's been happening to your whole career, but how much does that weigh on you and bother you? I mean, how do you keep going at it when you know there's 2 or 3 guys kind of battle you and try to fight through that?
Well, for me, year 10, just got to find more ways to be effective. Find more ways to get my guys around me going. Once I get those guys going, it can free me up, and I'm able to win a one-on-one. It's been going on for a while, so I don't think that's changing anytime soon. And if they don't double team me, then I got to win my one-on-one. I got to find a way to be effective. So it's a catch-22.
Chris, what could a turnover, maybe even 2 turnovers on Sunday do for you guys as a unit, considering how much improvement you guys showed last week?
Well, improving, we're just going to continue to improve, continue to take this step forward week in and week out. Individually, also as a group, offense, defense, special teams. I think it's all imperative that we continue to progress. But I think turnovers affect the game, completely change the game, and I think as a defense, we got to find ways to create more turnovers, give the ball back to Pat and Coach Reed, and we got a lot of trust in those guys. If we get the ball back to them, there's points will be generated.
Couple more.
Chris, with the fact that you guys held the Eagles to one of their lowest offensive outputs since 2020, how do you kind of take that and use that for this week?
Well, I look at it as a lot of areas that we can get better at. When you watch film, it's never really as good as you think. It's never really as bad as you think, but there's always room for improvement. So that was a step forward from the first game. I think we didn't play to our standard the first game, so we came out the second game. We took a step forward, and we just got to continue to make those steps throughout the season.
Chris, I know you put emotion into every game, so there's not necessarily maybe one that's more emotional for you than others. But this one, it seemed like there was a lot of trash talking and frustrations on maybe both sides.
Yeah, the clip that was going around wasn't because of the touch push. It was because of an inside zone that was ran like 5 to 6 times. I never once complained about the touch push on the sideline. We actually stopped the touch push. If you look back, we stopped it multiple times. So as in, the clip y'all seen was very portrayed as they ran the touch push, I came out. No, that was because they ran the inside zone 5 times. And I'm like, as a defensive line, we got to adjust to that. There's no way a team's going to come out and run inside zone 5 times on us, and we don't adjust to that. So those clips was very portrayed in two different, and the perspective of it was portrayed so wrong. But no, I didn't complain about the tush push. We actually stopped the tush push multiple times, 3rd and 1 couple times, 2nd and 1. So yeah,
Well, then I guess when you're talking about, you know, areas to improve and areas to not, I mean, is that maybe the bigger sticking point coming out of that game? Is that that was something they were able to do that we just never got around to stopping?
Say that again.
Maybe I didn't phrase that the best way, but so that was maybe more the frustration in that game was that particular play, not anything.
Yeah, we wasn't complaining about the tush push. The only thing about the tush push, whether it was an offsides or not, we can't judge that. We're not refs, but we can't. We never complain about the tush push. We stopped the tush push. We had plans for the tush push. We stopped it multiple times. So as in, like, can't stop it. We stopped it. Watch film multiple times. As in me, I was frustrated with my D-line because no way in HEW hockey sticks that a team would run the same run 5 times and we don't adjust to it. We got to adjust. That's my biggest thing as D-line. Once they give us one formation and run it at least twice, as a D-line, we got to adjust. We got to have the knowledge to see that they're going to continue to run the same play, and we got to adjust as a front. That was my only frustration.
Last one, anyone?
Chris, I know the back end didn't feel like they had a great day in Brazil. What did you make just that they were able to bounce back last week?
I mean, listen, it's areas for improvement, front end, back end, all around defense. I mean, how many passing yards we give up?
That's why I asked the question.
We gave up, 101 passing yards? And I have so much respect for those receivers on the Philadelphia Eagles. You got Devontae Smith, who used to be a Heisman. And you got A.J. Brown, who is a 1,000-yard receiver just walking out there. And we gave up 100, so there's no complaining there. Those back-end guys, how much better we want them to be? These are 2 number 1 receivers in this league, 2 top 10 receivers in this league. We gave up 100 yards. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Chris.